Hello everyone and welcome to the March edition of Price Know-How Snippets. For those of you not familiar with the format, this is where we try to get some quick information to you at the start of the month which could perhaps help influence your purchasing decisions. With me in the office today is Ian Chisnell, our product manager for polyolefins. He's going to talk to you about the impact of certain fundamentals in terms of polymer prices. But we'll start, as always, with my managing director, Mike Boswell, who's joining us remotely, who's going to talk about exchange rates and oil prices and the impact that some of that has had on monomers. So over to you, Mike.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, I think the oil price is pretty reflective of how the situation in the Red Sea started to settle down, and supply chains are adjusting to the changes that's made and the delays. So in terms of oil price, not a great deal of change actually. An increase of $2.48 on the average from 79.15 in January to 81.72 per barrel. Maximum didn't go up by very much. It went up from 75.89 to 77.33, an increase of $1.44. And the maximum went from 83.55 to 83.68, so just 13 cents increase. For those of you more interested in pounds per tonne, which is always more relevant in terms of polymers, it went from £469 and 13 pence to £487 and 1 pence, an increase of £17.88 per tonne. In terms of exchange rates, again, pretty quiet. We basically went from Euro 16 in January to a Euro 17 in February. The dollar down from $1.27 to $1.26. So really we're looking at a little bit of dollar strength there, 0.5 increase in terms of the dollar. As we move on, I think Ian's going to talk more about what's been happening in monomers in terms of there's been quite a late settlement on ethylene, which suggests there's been a lot of discussions, and also in terms of what's happening in the polymer market. So Ian, over to you.
Many thanks, Mike. So as Mike suggested, there was a late settlement. So ethylene was only settled on the 5th of March, which is quite late. My understanding is there was a lot of argument between the buyers and the sellers. So the buyers are unhappy about the relatively high cost of ethylene in Europe compared to the rest of the world, giving them a relatively uncompetitive position. But it is what it is. So ethylene increased €30 to 1,220 euros a tonne. Propylene increased by €35, now going up to 1,100 euros a tonne. As in February, there is a continued disconnect between the monomer prices and the polymer prices, with pretty much all of the major producers in Europe and some of the importers looking for triple-digit increases. So it's averaging around about €100 a tonne increase request for March. Some are a little bit below, some are sort of asking for 70, 80, some are asking for 120, and some are even asking for 150, and it varies a lot from grade to grade. And it's all dependent on the availability for immediate delivery of individual grades. So, for example, LDPE is seemingly tighter, whereas other grades are more available. Supply chain issues appear to be easing, but they're not easing immediately. So we need to sort of think very, very carefully about, what you need when you need it. If you can wait 3-4 weeks, you might be able to get a better deal than the ones that are available right now. But if you need material within the next couple of weeks, you're probably going to have to pay a fairly substantial increase until the supply chain issues are resolved. Mike, was there something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say a little bit about that situation that you were talking about in terms of people being uncomfortable with the increased request in ethylene based on relatively high ethylene prices. And this is because Europe's based on naphtha. And if we look at actually natural gas prices and the delta between natural gas and the natural gas, of course, being the source for ethane to go down the shale gas route, that's opened up quite a lot. And I think, again, that's the cause of some of this discomfort at the moment in terms of price negotiations. So a good point there raised, Ian. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike and Ian. As usual, more information will be out in our full edition of Price Know-How, which will likely be around the middle of the month. But in the meantime, if you do have any further questions, then please speak to your customer service team or indeed Mike, Ian or myself, and we'd be delighted to help you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.